Hello, sixth graders. It's Mrs. P here again, and it's time for another mathematics video. And as you are aware, we've been working on fraction division, or how we do the process of dividing fractions. Now, there is a mathematical rule that goes with the division of fractions. It's an algorithm. But before I show you that rule and we talk about that rule and how and why it works, I want to make sure that you can visually see with models how dividing fractions work. So today's video, it's nighttime, right, when I'm filming this, just so you all know. I did my 45 minutes of walking before this. This video is going to talk about dividing fractions through modeling. And before I do a fraction by fraction division problem, I want to go through one that I went through in the class, and that was using a whole number divided by a fraction. Usually that's a lot easier to see than a fraction divided by a fraction, but as long as you can start to see the models, then dividing fractions seems to make more sense. So the first one I'm going to do is a whole number divided by a fraction. And we talked about this in class today, sixth graders, and I want to remind you that when you're thinking about this division, you're not thinking about splitting 6 up into 1/5. You're thinking about how many 1/5 can you get out of 6. That's what division is. It's grouping. So you're really asking yourself, how many 1/5 can I get out of 6? It doesn't mean take the number 6, and this is just a funny play. It doesn't mean take the number 6 and go and split it up into 5 parts. That's not what division means. What it means is you take 6 wholes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You take 6 wholes and you see how many 1/5 you can get out of those 6 wholes. So what you want to do then, sixth graders, is you take your whole and you split it up. You take one of the 6 wholes and you split it up into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not very even, but again, you always know Mrs. P's. You get the gist, right? So then I'm going to do that to all of these. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So each one of those holes now are split up into fifths. Not just the number 6, but every one of those holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every one of those holes are split up into fifths now. And so sixth graders, when it says take the whole number 6 and divide it by 1/5, it really means how many 1/5 can you get into 6? How many of those can you put into there, or how many of those can you get out of 6? Well, once I model it for you, sixth graders, I'm going to think you see now that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/5 in that one right there. And you can't really see that, so I'll write that like this. There's 5 of those. Well, if there's 5 in one, then there's going to be 5 in this one, 5 in this one, 5, 5, 5. And when you add up how many that is, you're going to see it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So if you have the whole number 6 and you want to find how many groups of 1/5 are in the number 6, you now know there are 30, because these holes will be broken up into parts of 5, and every single one of them have 5 parts. So 6 of them would all together have 30 parts. Hopefully that's like, oh yeah, I see that, Mrs. P. And if you don't, holler at me. So that's how you take a whole number and you divide it by 1/5. Now, to do a fraction by a fraction is a little more difficult. It's a little more tricky. And I kind of showed you this last night, and I'm going to show you again tonight or today. But I'm going to show you in a little bit of a different way. And then sixth graders, in your Google Classroom, there'll actually be another video from another teacher. I just YouTubed him doing mathematics with Mr. J. He does a lot of mathematics videos too. His is more cartoony. You don't really see his face. But he'll probably kind of show you this way as well. But I'm going to show you in a different mindset so that maybe you can see this. Remember, fractions, no matter what, we're always basing them on wholes. So I'm going to take a hole here, and I want this hole to be broke up into 2/3. So I'm going to say this is my hole, and I want to put it into 2/3, which means my hole has to have 3 parts. Remember, that's what our denominator tells us, that the whole has 3 parts. Now, what this says is that I have 2/3 of those 3 parts. There's my 2/3. Now what I want to do, 6th graders, is I want to take that 2/3 and I want to see how many 1/4 I can get out of that. Well, 6th graders, I can only get so many fourths out of a whole. I can go once, twice, 3, 4 times. That's how many fourths I can get out of a whole. I can get 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths out of a whole. Now, what this is really saying to you, 6th graders, is I'm going to make another hole over here. And I'm going to tell you that this is 2/3. And that this, I'm going to do it the same way I did before. This is my fourths. But instead of covering in my 2/3, over here I'm going to color in my 1/4. There's 1/4. So this model's 2/3. And this model's 1/4. So I'm going to write it exactly the same way. There's 2/3. This is my 1/4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. This shows you my 2/3 part. And this shows you my 1/4 part. So then you can actually see the fractions broke up into parts. Here's my 2/3. And here's my 1/4. And I want to take this 1/4. And I want to see how many of them I can get out of that. So hopefully that gives you a better picture. So I'm going to pick another color. It looks like I haven't used purple, so we'll use that one. So this is my 2/3. This is my 1/4. And I want to divide it. I want to see how many of these I can get out of this. Well, to get 1/4, it looks like I need 1, 2, 3 boxes. So I come over here and I find 3 boxes. There's 1, 2, 3 boxes. There's 3 boxes. So that's 1/4. So I've got 1. Check. Can I get any more 1/4? Well, there's 1, 2, 3 boxes. So there's another one. So then that's another 4th. Check. Can I get another 4th? Are there 3 more boxes left? And there's not. There's not 3 boxes left. So 6th graders, what this tells me is that here was 1/4. That's 1. And here was 1/4. That's 1. So if I want to divide 2/3 and I want to put them in groups of 4th, this tells me I can get 2 1/4, and then I have 2 little pieces left of the thirds. So if I want to divide 2/3 by a 4th, I can get 2 1/4, but I'm still going to have 2/3 of the next one, because right here is 2 parts that are left, but 2 parts doesn't equal 1/4. So I can only get 2 1/4, and then that leaves me 2/3 left. So I'm hoping that that model kind of, you can visually see it. Maybe I should do another one and on the spot. So these are the ones I had ready and prepared, but let me try another one just on the spot for you, okay? So let me think of a fraction just so you can see it again, because I think it will help. Let me do 4/5. Oops, and I want to do it in a different color. Let me do 4/5. And I picked the wrong color and it still didn't do it. Why isn't it picking up that color? Let me close this down. Here we go. Green. All right, it's just stuck on yellow for some reason, lovely children. 4/5, and let's divide 4/5 by 1/3, okay? Again, we always know we have to have a whole. That's what fractions are. They're parts of wholes. So I'm going to make a box, and I'm going to split it going this way into 4/5, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. So you see that? There is 1/5. There's another 5th, another 5th, another 5th, and another 5th. And my marker just keeps changing colors on me. And in that 4/5, 6th graders, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, okay? That's my 4/5. Now, what I want to do to that 4/5 is I want to see how many 1/3 I can get out of it. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to split this into thirds. There are my thirds, okay? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3 thirds. So what this is asking is how many thirds can you get out of 4/5? Well, let's see what makes up 1/3. I'm going to make another hole. Again, I'm going to split it up into 4/5. I'm not going to color in the 4/5 this time. Instead, I'm going to color in the thirds. So to have 1/3, it looks like I need 5 parts. In 1/3, there are 5 pieces. That's what that's saying. So then I come over here and I ask myself, how many 1/3s can I get out of 4/5? Well, let's find 5 pieces. There's 4. Right here there's 1. Let's see if I can get another one that has 5 pieces. And I'm going to use a different color too. Well, there is 1, 2, and there's 3, 4, 5. There's 5 pieces. So there's 1/3. Oh, and look at that, 6th graders. There's only 2 pieces left, so I can't get another third. So this is telling me that 4/5 divided by 1/3 is equal to 2 and 2/5, because there's 2/5 left out of these pieces that I broke up in my fifths. And as we move on, 6th graders, we are going to learn that rule, that reciprocal rule, which tells us we can keep, switch, and flip. And once you visually can see how this works, then the keep, switch, and flip makes a lot of sense to turn division into multiplication for you, ladies and gentlemen. So what we really did is we put this over, we said 4/5 times 3/1, and that got us 12/5. 5 will go into 12 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. So take 10 away. That leaves me 2/5. That's the reciprocal rule. That's eventually what we will go to. I'm going to put a big smiley face on that. That's what we'll eventually go to. But right now, I want you to work and focus on how you can see dividing fractions through modeling. You can do that modeling whole numbers, and you can do that by modeling fractions by fractions, thinking about your wholes to parts. So I hope that helps, 6th graders. As I said, if you're having questions, one of my students today said, "Don't say just say this word, Mrs. P. If you feel you're still having obstacles, 6th graders, just ask me when you're in class, or if you're watching this online and you're at home. Send me emails and ask me questions so I can help you visually see this, so that eventually, 6th graders, we can go to the mathematical algorithm that will help you divide fractions." Well, that's it. And until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you later.